Hi everyone, it's time for another episode of Nick's Nerd Network. Now, a lot of you know that I started off this channel doing reviews of Steven Universe. Those are my very first videos. And I've since moved away from that platform, but I wanted to make an exception with the Steven Universe Diamond Days series of episodes that have come out recently and the finale which just aired. Now, this is a longer video than I would normally post, so just a warning off there. Also, heavy spoiler warning. And I wanted to share with you how much this episode or this story arc meant to me, because I really find it relatable to my coming out story, bringing your family up to speed with who you are, forging your own path, and you're being you, and it might not be what they expected. Now, I'm also aware that my family is now aware of my YouTube channel. If you are watching, family out there, this might provide you with a better understanding of my thought process and how I feel about situations. I'm not here to talk a bunch of smack, but make a comparison to the ways I've felt to this show. Now, I'm going to kind of glaze over most of Legs to Here to Homeworld because it's not really part of the narrative we're discussing right now, but it's important to know that Pink Diamond faking her own death is in the LGBT community. There are a lot of people who turn to suicide to get away from their problems, but then there's also situations where they don't succeed in their suicide attempts, and I think it's relatable in this moment because, I mean, the Diamonds thought they lost Pink, and now that they've got her again, and that's kind of like a newfound hope for parents who have a son or daughter who tried to commit suicide to escape their problems, which is what Pink Diamond did. She didn't actually attempt suicide, but to them, she was dead. They want to bring her back to Homeworld so that way she can pick up where she left off. Now, Steven gets the opportunity right away to meet with White Diamond, but he sees very quickly that she's not willing to listen to him. She is really disregarding his opinion. She's not letting him talk. She's treating him like a child.
Hello, Starlight. You certainly gave everyone a scare. They're all just thrilled to see you safe and sound.
Hi?
As for this latest little game of yours, thank the stars it's over. Did you have fun? Did you get everything out of your system? Good, good. Everyone is so relieved.
This is something that's relatable because a lot of parents, when they're talking to their son or daughter who is part of the LGBT community, they think that it's just a phase, or they're just messing around, or they're experimenting, and did you get it out of your system? And I think those are all things that we can relate to as someone who's come out in the LGBT community, or if you know someone who's in the LGBT community. She immediately dismisses Steven, sending him back to his room. White Diamond is in some sense of denial and isn't willing to hear anything Steven has to say. Now, Familiar is a really important episode because Steven's back on Homeworld and he's trying to figure out how to fit in. The Crystal Gems are Steven's chosen family. Now, in the LGBT community, especially if you don't have a lot of support from your family, you have a chosen family. Those are your friends, your network. They're the ones who are supporting and loving you in the absence of love and support of the people you want it from most. Now, in Columbus, Ohio, that's where I live now, I do have a chosen family there. I still love and appreciate my biological family, but there's certain ways that they can't support me right now. So it's good to know that I have a chosen family that supports me, and that's what the Crystal Gems are to Steven. Now, Steven meets with Blue Diamond pretty soon after getting back to Homeworld.
I'm so glad you're back, Steven.
You actually said my name.
Steven? Stevon? It's such a funny sounding name. You're so creative, Pink.
And Blue really isn't accepting the idea that Steven wants to be referred to as Steven. She keeps referring to him as Pink Diamond. And I think it's important to point out, like, this is in relation to the transgender community. Steven is, like, essentially his pronoun. I mean, it's not the same, but he wants to be acknowledged as Steven. Pink Diamond is something that he isn't anymore and actually never was. Now, the Diamonds are super happy to have Steven back, and they expect things to go back to exactly the way they were, which was the problem. This is why Pink left in the first place. So Steven has to decide, is he going to fit the role of Pink Diamond, or is he going to continue to be himself? And I feel that way. When I go home to see my family, because they're not supportive of me being gay, then I have to essentially go back into the closet in order to appease what they expect out of a visit. And you don't feel comfortable. You feel like you're walking on eggshells trying to be something that you're not to appease people who ultimately don't support who you are. Now, in Alone Together, Steven is planning a ball to celebrate the achievements and the start of Era 3. Now, some of the first things that are said to him by Blue Diamond in the planning of this ball is she starts to criticize him, like,
Are you really going to look like this, even at the ball?
I can't really help it.
You aren't thinking of inviting your Earth friends, are you?
Why wouldn't I?
She's concerned that Steven's going to embarrass them. I think that I've had this conversation before too, where I'm unsure or I'm like afraid of being too flamboyant. When I first came out, I was very careful about what I posted on Facebook because I felt like I need to not be obviously gay so I'm not offending other people. And that's how like Blue Diamond is making Steven feel. She's making him feel ashamed of who he is and that he needs to change to be accepted. Now the ball has started and Steven's feeling pretty miserable. In order to get White Diamond's attention, he needs to be what she wants him to be. He needs to fit into the role that Pink Diamond was expected to fit into, and he eventually gets miserable and kind of decides to do his own thing.
Steven, we're gonna be okay. I'm here. Look at me. We'll get through this together. Yeah.
Pink, what are you doing? I was just dancing.
Which is just like me with like my social media. I was tired of appeasing to people who weren't going to change or weren't making an effort to change right now. Yellow and Blue immediately turn on Steven because they're embarrassed by him. They're worried what White's going to think, what other people are going to think. They're worried about what their gems are going to think, and they get upset. Now Steven's friends, the Crystal Gems, all quickly rush to his aid.
Pink, this is completely unacceptable. Unfuse or I'll make you.
You'll have to go through me.
Huh? And me.
Yeah.
And me. I knew it. I knew I couldn't be the only one.
In surprise, there are other gems in the court that are also feeling those same things, that also fuse together and stand up for Steven, even though they don't know him at all, and this is all new to them. They're just happy to see, you know what, there's someone else that was like me that I didn't see before. That's the whole purpose of why I've done this YouTube channel, whether it's for nerds or the LGBT community, is I want to set an example and show other people that it's okay to be who you are and what you want to be, and you shouldn't be ashamed of that. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you should be able to do whatever you want to do.
Think you've gone too far, even for you. Stay in here and think about what you've done.
Wait.
Now, Yellow and Blue's reaction to this is to punish Steve. Silence him, they hide him, they throw him up in his tower so that he can't cause a scene anymore and embarrass them. They're hiding him away, they're locking him away, they're pretending the problem doesn't exist. Alright, it's time for Change Your Mind, which is the final stretch of the Diamond Days situation that we're looking at.
I cannot believe you making a scene like that. You're not leaving this tower until you apologize for fusing at the ball.
No.
Steven.
What? I'm not sorry.
Steven stands up to her, and Pink wouldn't do that, so Blue's not really prepared for that. Pink was always like very submissive and like, yes, I'm sorry, and apologetic. But Steven's not sorry. He's tired of being sorry and apologizing for who he is.
You back, and you're worse than ever.
Blue, Connie and I fuse all the time. It's totally normal and fun.
Oh, in what universe could that possibly be fine? Oh, Pink, your time on Earth has warped your sense of right and wrong.
Yeah, maybe it has.
That's enough!
She's blaming the Earth, she's blaming the Crystal Gems, and blaming really everyone. Now, people can relate to this. When I came out, my parents brought religion up, questioning my morals, comparing me to bad people who are part of the LGBT community, or people who chose the wrong path to deal with the stress and shame and discomfort and lack of support, like drugs and things like that, and getting upset. They made it about them. They made it about how I failed them. But after Steven talks to Blue, Blue starts to realize,
This isn't normal. How many times did you lock her in here? How many times did you make her cry?
I didn't. And this is why you left, isn't it? You were right to leave. I always thought that you were failing this world. But if you were happier on Earth, maybe this world was failing you.
now, I haven't really reached that point with my parents personally, but eventually I hope to get to that point where at least one of them starts to realize, like, we're hurting you in this process. I've had this discussion with my family before, saying, you know what, you're afraid of how the world's going to treat me, but right now, the only people who have ever treated me badly for being gay is you. You're the one that's doing the damage. Now, Blue decides to help Steven, and they are immediately confronted by Yellow Diamond.
What are you doing, Blue? Take Pink back to the tower.
She prefers to be called Steven.
What are you talking about? You can't keep bending the rules for her, Blue. She has to set an example, and we have to set an example. If we bend the rules for her, we have to bend them for everyone.
And she's not ready to do that. She is so worried and afraid of what White's going to think, what the world's going to think. Yellow also blames Pink for a lot of the things going on Homeworld. Yellow blames Pink for the lack of relationship between her and Blue and the bad relationship between them and White Diamond, because by her leaving, it's caused disruption. Now, that's happened with me in the past, where specific family members have accused me of being selfish by being a part of the LGBT community, and by doing this that I'm causing trouble or causing disagreements or ill feelings within our family. But it's really not my fault. I'm just being myself. People just disagree with me, and they're making the problem about them. Yellow eventually breaks down after their fight.
Stop! You don't have to do this!
Yes, I do. This is what White Diamond expects of all of us. We all must make sacrifices for the sake of our perfect empire.
Does this look perfect to you?
And she finally lets down her walls and starts to feel. And this is an important moment because Blue and Yellow are now acknowledging Steven as Steven. They're not calling him Pink anymore. They're acknowledging him by his, I guess, I mean, not really a pronoun, but kind of a pronoun. It's a symbolism. And they're acknowledging it's an important step to see that they are now at Steven's level and they're seeing what he's seeing. They're empathizing with him. Now, during their escape, they're stopped by White Pearl / White Diamond, and she confronts them. White Diamond is upset. She treats the three of them like children.
You're not going anywhere.
You've made a grave mistake. Go to your rooms.
But this time, Steven has her full and undivided attention because he is backup. Before, he was outnumbered by the Diamonds not supporting him, but now he has two of the Diamonds on his side. Now, Yellow and Blue offer to hold White Diamond off while Steven escapes, but Steven says no. He's not going to run away from his problems. He's not going to keep leaving. That's what his mom did. He's not his mom. He's not going to do what Pink Diamond did. He's going to stand his ground and he's going to fix this. And I think that's the hardest thing to do when you're facing such adversity from your family and so much negativity, is it's really hard to force yourself to stay in that situation even though you know it's the right thing to do. And I've faced that. It's really hard to go home sometimes when I know I'm going to have to force myself into an uncomfortable situation and there's going to be arguing.
Just go. Hurry. She's getting up.
No. No, I won't go. If we can fix our family, we can fix everything.
But in order to fix it, we'd have to admit that it's broken.
She'll never want to hear it.
To admit that it's broken, and it's hard enough for them to admit it. They know White's not going to want to admit it. And in my coming out process, there was a good 2 or 3 year period where we didn't talk about me coming out very much because we didn't want to discuss it. We didn't want to acknowledge it, but it was always kind of the elephant in the room, and every time it was acknowledged, it ended in an argument and a fight. Steven tries to explain to White that they're all hurting. It's not just him, it's not just her. Everyone's hurting in this situation. Yellow, blue, the other gems, the crystal gems, Steven, everyone's hurting. When you're in the coming out process, your whole family's hurting. Steven finally gets to confront White Diamond face to face, and she's automatically not listening again. She's discrediting the people around Steven. She won't acknowledge that he's not Pink Diamond. And that's the hardest part in a coming out process, is acknowledging that the life you had planned out for your son or daughter isn't necessarily the life that they're going to lead. And you have to acknowledge they're not a kid anymore. They're not who you used to know. She then reacts by isolating Steven from his friends, by turning the crystal gems white and draining them of all of their individuality. But this kind of feels like a reference to conversion therapy, making people fit into the status quo and making people change by force, whether it's through torture, therapy, manipulation, anything like that, which are common practices in conversion therapy.
My. We've been causing quite a scene, haven't we?
What have you done to them? They're...
Stop!
It's a pity the way you bring out the worst in others. See how you've encouraged their deficiencies? It's written all over their gems.
Guys! Come on, snap out of it!
Please stop helping them. You'll only make things worse. That's what you do. I make things better. Here. Oh, thank you. How generous of you. Thank you, White Diamond. We feel so much better now. I feel excellent. There we are. I've removed their flaws. Now the impurities you've encouraged in them are gone. Now they are brilliant. Now they are perfect. Now they are me.
She's using tactics like manipulation and physical violence and harm and verbal abuse.
My friends don't need to be fixed. They're fine the way they are, flaws and all.
There you go again. Do you understand why you defend their flaws? I know why, Pink. You like surrounding yourself with inferior gems.
What?
You enable their terrible behavior so you can be the best of the worst.
Now, I never experienced physical harm from my family for being gay, but I did experience forms of manipulation and verbal abuse, whether it was accusing me of the negative things that are associated with the LGBT community by people who aren't very open-minded, or by making threats in terms of not supporting me in certain things, or not doing certain things, or taking things away, or removing me from where I live, or separating me or isolating me from the people who they consider a bad influence on me. Steven stands strong against all odds. White finally starts to realize that this isn't Pink anymore. She can't just bulldoze over, she can't bully her. Steven's not gonna back down.
No! You are Pink Diamond! That is Pink Diamond's gem! You do not look like this. You do not sound like this. You are not half human. You're just acting like a child!
I am a child. What's your excuse?
And then she eventually buckles, because we find out she's been putting so much internal pressure on herself.
I'm supposed to be flawless. If I'm not perfect, then who am I? If you're not Pink, then who are you? Who is anyone?
You know, if you just let everyone be whoever they are, maybe you could let yourself be whoever you are too.
By not letting herself be herself, her gems, her diamonds, her family can't be themselves. Now, at the end of the episode, they all really come together. They start to realize, like, it's okay to be themselves. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be off colors. It's okay to be different. Now, I think it's really important that we talk about the song at the end of the video. I know I've talked a lot already, but here's the song.
I don't need you to respect me, I respect me. I don't need you to love me, I love me.
Now, the lyrics are really important. I don't need you to respect me, I respect me. I don't need you to love me, I love me. Now, it's really important to consider these things because you're not going to always get the support from your family in the LGBT community that you need. And you need to find that support elsewhere. Steven found that support amongst the Crystal Gem, and Steven loves himself. He doesn't need someone else to say it to him because he has it. He respects himself. He loves himself. And the other lines that are really important is,
but I want you to know you could know me if you change your mind.
When you're telling someone that you don't want to hear about that part of their life, the LGBT side of their life, it really limits a lot of what they can talk to you about. And I'm kind of in that position with my family now where if I sterilize the conversation to omit everything that is gay or different about me, that doesn't leave me a lot to talk about. We get into kind of these stalemate conversations of like, well, how are things going? What's new? And we don't really have conversations anymore. And that's the cost of sterilizing the conversation. Thank you all so much for watching. This story arc and Steven Universe in general has been so important to me in my coming out process and my loving myself process. And it's just so important that I put this information out here and put out these comparisons. Stay tuned for more content like this, and please, if you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you for hanging in there. That's all for today. Bye.